and for me, it's the most important one. Um, I call upon the speakers on stage. Mr. Naman Gupta, founder, Code Efforts. Mr. Chandan Sharma, chapter head, Karnataka Gunj. Mr. Raj Kiran Madan Gopal, co-founder and COO, Banyan Nation. And Ms. Vishala Reddy, founder, director, Millet Bank.
This is a very special panel here. In fact, the three of the panelists that I have on my right side are the ones are the ones whose companies I have been investigating, or I would say researching about. And there's a new addition, Vishala, and all thanks to Dr. Krishna for having introduced to her, and such a fantastic work her company is doing. So how we are going to go about this panel discussion is that since this is a panel of circularity, and there are very unique business models that each of the panelists have developed, and they're going to talk about it. So we will have some presentations by each one of them, and then probably I'll have a few questions, which I promise are not going to be very difficult questions, but very relevant questions, relevant to the type of research we are doing in that space. And then we'll open the discussion and questioning to the audiences. So if we can have Naman's presentation on, and also you'll have to help him move the slides, because I think you'll take the, so Naman from Code Efforts. That's all.
Hyderabad is not new to me. I've been to Hyderabad multiple times, and the hospitality and the warmth and the loving nature that each and every Hyderabadi and Telangana person brings along with them is truly admirable, and I'm very happy to be a part of this wonderful summit where we are discussing, and not just discussing, we are vocalizing and advocating the need and the necessity of switching to sustainable alternates, bringing up practices which help the environment, and we are trying to achieve the planet's prosperity than the profits. So I'll brief you about our business, and my presentation is not a tech-driven presentation. My presentation would be more on the inspiration and the values that we as Code Effort bring onto the table. As a brief, Code Effort, we started in the year 2018 with a vision to recycle cigarette butts and convert them into sustainable and meaningful merchandise. And all the products that we are making are 100% made in India by rural women artisans. So that's an achievement in itself, because not just we are trying to solve the problem of environment, but also we are trying to develop a circular economy model and trying to uplift the rural livelihoods, so that it's not just about the richer people getting more richer, but also bringing the lower segment people and the below poverty line people to at least dream of things that they want to achieve, and we are proud to help them in helping them generate livelihoods. Many of you recognize this person? Quite a few, sir. Almost, I can say 30%. Who is he? Nas Daily. Nas Daily. What's his profession, or what does he do? Correct. So Nas Daily, I'll give you about him a brief about him. Nas Daily is like the influencer of influencers. He was the one who started the 1-minute storytelling, and he used to pick up only those stories which are actually meaningful, and the way he presented was able to relate to. Oh, sir also knows him. You know anybody? All of them. So at least raise the hand so that I can understand. Like this presentation is more audience centric. I would need your interaction actually. So who is he? Krishna. Govinda ka bhanja. Any other thing? Comedian, Kapil Sharma show. He also hosts one channel. Sorry. History TV 18, he hosts one channel which is called OMG Ye Mera India. Okay. It's almost like 13, 14 seasons have already passed, I guess. Anybody who recognizes him? Oh, these people know a lot, yeah? Huh? Kunal, full name? Surname is correct actually. He is not Kunal. Sorry? Karan Kundra. What does he do? Actor, Daily Soap. Okay. Now, just a quick thing. Why are these people included in my deck? They have nothing to do with smoking. The reason why I added them into my slide is because they are actually advocating my work and they are promoting my work. I'll show you how. This was a video that Nas Daily shot in 2022, and this was the video that garnered more than 100 million views in 1 week. Okay, that's not a small number. And this one, like because he's an influencer, so he was the one who helped us enter the export market. We had never thought that we would enter the export market, but because he actually covered our story on his social media platforms, so that gave us a lot of recognition. And because he only covers those stories which are actually meaningful and traceable, because traceability is one of the parameters. So we actually are very thankful for him to give us this opportunity to present our cause on his social media and to reach out to his community. The other recognition is History TV 18. We got covered in season, I guess, 12 or season 9, somewhere 2-3 years down the line. And OMG Ye Mera India is only dedicated to those stories which have something to do, which is something unique, and actually brings value to Make in India systems and actually helps India stand as a country which other countries can look up to. So have been fortunate enough to be a part of this season as well. And now coming to the business angle, Karan Kundra actually unveiled this jeans in April. This jeans is made from recycled cigarette butts. One pair of jeans requires around 600 cigarette butts to be recycled and then made. And, huh? Sorry? सर अभी उस पे बात करेंगे अभी आप रुक जाओ ठीक है तो he actually was the one who actually introduced this, and this product is done exclusively for Lee Cooper brand, where they have made in collaboration with us a world's first denim made from 100% recycled cigarette butts. Now, the reason why I'm showing you all of this is to understand that this is not my problem or sir's problem or anybody else's problem. This is our environment's problem. And this is one of the problems that actually needs to be addressed and needs to be vocalized on all the platforms. It's not just social media or anything. It has the commercial angle to it, and it can actually bring a model which is circular and can help the sustainability market grow in all segments. Now coming to the problem, like sir is saying how many people smoke. So in India, around 10,000 crore cigarette butts end up as general litter, which is around 100 billion. And if we do the back calculation, every second we generate around 3,000 cigarette butts. These are only Indian numbers, verified through various experiences and various research papers. And before we started in the year 2018, there were no existing government policies or recyclers who were dealing with this kind of waste. So that was the idea to crack, and we tried to build a solution to recycle these cigarette butts. Worldwide, as per numbers, around 4.5 trillion cigarette butts end up as general litter, and every cigarette butt can contaminate more than 25 liters of water and contains around 7,000 plus chemicals, out of which almost 50 of them are cancer causing. So, yes, sir. It is all ending up in the landfills. And currently, I'll explain you, I'll walk you through the journey itself. So this is the problem that we addressed and currently addressing. And in 2018, we developed a model where we built a 3P model. Like I was completely unaware that the theme of this, I didn't read actually, but when Dr. Saurabh introduced the theme, there were three P's, which is progress, pitfalls, and possibilities. And fortunately, our business model also involves three P's. So the first P for us is to procure, because without procuring, we cannot recycle. So in India, and we provide collection and waste management services to corporate companies who pay us for the waste management service. So this is the first P that we do. And after that, once the procurement is done, we move to the second P, which is to process, or we can say recycle the cigarette butts. Now in cigarette butts, we have three types of materials. One is the cellulose acetate fiber, which is also called polymer. So from polymer, we started with home decor and gift items, which you can also see on the stall that we have put up. A lot of you, I would like to thank all of you who had actually come to our stall and procured our products. One of the ladies is also showing it in her hand. So very thankful and very happy to see that people are actually willing to contribute and not just appreciate. So these are some of the products. 2 years back, we started making textiles, and one of the examples I already showed you of the textiles. From the paper, we started with handmade paper, and that handmade paper we are actually making, converting it into envelopes, diaries, and carry bags. Plus, we have added one more value to the handmade paper, which is the seed paper, which is currently the trending paper vertical in the entire world. So this is one of the products. And the other product that we have is the mosquito repellents, which is very similar to the Good Night Fast Card, and we sell it during the summers and the monsoon season. Now coming to the tobacco part, tobacco is hardly 1 or 2%, but because our intention was to recycle 100% of the raw materials, so we don't throw away the tobacco, we recycle it, and because tobacco is a natural pesticide, so we convert it into compost powder and sell it to the nearby gardens and nurseries. So the first P was to procure, second P was to process, and the third P is to produce, like the products that we are making. So that's the third P, which is already there. Now coming to the client list, these are a few clients who are actually giving us good business. So these are some of the clients. Now, what's the catch for the students here? Like in case if you're looking to work in any of these companies, be it admin, be it procurement, be it sustainability, so you know whom to call. You have my number. So I am the one. In case if you are trying to work with them, then definitely we can work out something together. Now coming to the impact. It's almost 6 years that we started this business. We started in 2018. So what's the impact? Like I've showed you how we are doing what we are doing and what all has been achieved so far. But in terms of numbers, because numbers actually give you the actual impact. So far within these 6 years, we have been able to recycle more than 10 billion cigarette butts, which if we do the calculations through our metrics, it is helping us in reducing 250 billion liters of usable water, which can be utilized in some other work, either agriculture or drinking or whatever. Plus, because these cigarette butts, if they end up in the landfill or the marine aquatic species, generally misconcept it as food and ingest it. So that's a fatal thing for them to ingest, and they generally lose lives if they eat it. So we, through recycling of 10 billion cigarettes, we have been able to save 40 billion marine species life. And because every cigarette butt is equivalent to 40 grams of carbon footprint. So through this, we have been able to reduce substantial amount of carbon footprint from the environment. But it's not just about environment, definitely. So through our business model, we have been able to empower 100 plus rural women artisans, 2,500 plus rack pickers, and a lot of people. And the awareness that we have brought in from the entire model is immense. And this is just the start. Currently, we are recycling around 6 million cigarette butts daily, which is only 2% of the total market just in India. So if we want to achieve more numbers, if we want to grow this business, I would love to have you all support us, because like one of our values is cooperation to corporation. So the more we cooperate, the more we can do business and the more sustainability we can achieve and take the sustainability products, sustainable merchandise and recycled merchandise into the mainstream market. So before ending my talk, just on a lighter note, it was today is 18th, so 10 days back it was my birthday actually. So I'm remembering my birthday, like the celebrations that we have. So everybody remembers their birth date. So I have a small activity just to energize all the audience and everybody in the panel. So everybody knows their birth date, right? Everybody. So I would like to have all the people in this auditorium. So all those people who have their birth date as an odd number, be it 1, 3, so just stand up and keep your hands like this. Odd number. In the panel also.
Presentations are done. My second panelist is Mr. Chandan, and I have a great regard for this company which he is representing, Goonj, because somehow I feel that this is a company which works selflessly on areas which requires tremendous attention. So probably Chandan would be able to shed light on what exactly they are doing and the impacts they are generating.
I must say, and then I'm just taking you after what he's doing. As he said about that he's really wanting to, impact to the society while collecting these things which are actually going to the landfilling. So our focus is also similar, and we try to collect also urban surpluses, and it's been we have completed 25 years. This is our 26th year, and when we started Goonj, so our basic focus was to focus on the three basic need of human when we talk about roti, kapda and makan. So we spoke about clothes because if you talk about development agendas, so you find like domestic violence to global warming to 100 and 150 issues, and again you have something for food, you have something for shelter in our development agendas, but nothing for clothes, and kept in our cupboard, and ultimately it goes after some time, and obviously like we want these material and channelize these material people who cannot afford that, because ultimately if we talk about that surpluses which we are generating, and that in a fast fashion life, like so many things we initiated with clothes, but now Goonj deals with everything, anything and everything which can be reused, and we collect tons of material, and we started with 67 pieces of clothes in 1999, and if we talk about our annual dealing right now, it is more than 10,000 tons of material, and this is all kind of household stuff, right from clothes, toy, utensils, all kind of plastic material or anything and everything which can be reused or which can be upcycled, we take and try to supply to people who are in need. So basically, Goonj wants to bridge the gap between urban and rural India, where urban India we have affordability to buy, and rural India they do not have. So there is a big gap, and this gap can be fulfilled when you have an organization like Goonj, so that you can collect and you can supply who are in need. So basic focus is to reduce the wastage in urban India and repositioning of the material which are actually urban discarded materials. Why we say discarded, not donation? Goonj is a non-profit organization, and when you talk about NGO or non-profit organization, people always think about donations. But we say like what we collect, this is not donation, except the financial contribution or something you buy and give it. But if I want to give it this shirt, I have used it for 6 months. After that, if I want to give it to somebody, so the more appropriate word is to discard, not donation. So that's why we want to reposition this discarded wastage material. And this is not just only post-consumer waste, but also pre-consumer waste, because there are so many brands. They also have their factory surpluses. They also have, their customer return products. So there are tons of material which we collect, and we try to supply and fill that gap. And when we talk about other focus of Gunj, that mobilizing community to work on self-identified issues for themselves. And what we collect, we also, in the process of processing to the people who are in need, or the family or the community, we also generate livelihood with this. As Naman said, like, there are people involved in making these things. So for us also, the process, when people give what they have, but we have to give what people need. See, we cannot give everything and anything what we collect, because people always give whatever they take out from their houses. And exactly when you go to rural India, you cannot find that kind of utilization. So you have to do some kind of work. You have to do the meticulous segregation, then only it can be given. So this is the focus, and the guideline or principle, if you talk about Gunj. So we always think about valuing the local wisdom, traditional wisdom and potential. We also focus on dignity. As I said, like, we don't believe in donation or charity, though we are a non-profit organization, but while working with the material, we think about its, we can channelize this material, but also dignity should be intact. With material, what we do, we also focus on the basic issues what community faces or community people faces. And when we do these programs, then we think like, if you want to do something, you have to collaborate. Alone, you cannot do everything. You have to do in a collaborative way, and you have to do everything, and doing good is a collective responsibility. And for us, everybody is a stakeholder, no donor beneficiary, but people who are giving the stuff, they're a stakeholder, we are a processor, we are also a stakeholder, and people who are receiving, they're also a stakeholder. So this is the wastage data which we are referring to. So 2017, 62 million tons, and which is expected to be 165 million tons in 2030. Out of that, 7,800 kilotons annually the textile wastage comes. And when we talk about sustainability or net zero waste, so our focus is not just recycling, because recycling always helps, to reduce the wastage. But we also think about, why don't we do something else? So repositioning is a material is one of our top priority. And thereafter that, we think about upcycling the material which are left over after that. Because things which we receive at Gunj, those are also good in condition. 80% material which are good in condition, just that because we have very frequent purchasing power, so we buy very frequently, we discard very frequently, but we think that this material cycle or quality of life of the material is still there, so it can be reused by somebody. And this is urban and rural divide, so I need not to spend much time in this. We know that, how the wealth and, the material diversion is there if we talk about urban and rural India. So 73% we know, and there is a data that large population and large society, we actually consider rural India, but again the wealth division is totally vice versa. So basically, we try to bridge that inequality gap and the money and wealth distribution and material poverty. We try to bridge the gap in between that. So this is the solution we offer. So we collect urban surpluses, it goes to the processing, and then it comes to the rural India. And the rural India will get the material, but not as a donation, but they work for that and they get as a reward system. So when we say reward system, so this is the process. The collection happens, then detailed processing happens at the center, some value addition. Value addition means, like it, as I said, like it will not go as it is, but it will be, refurbished. It will be, we will be adding some value to it, and after that, some kind of kit we prepare. So at Gunj Processing Center, if you visit, you will find the material which we collect. We make family pack, we make a school pack, we make relief packages, we make Anganwadi kind of kits, and also there is a women dignity kit. So I talked about clothes, and I talked about distribution because it's a basic need of human. And we also spoke 20 years back, and we also discussed about that. The another importance of clothing is that every woman needs a piece of cloth. It is called sanitary pad. And when we started in 2004, we also started, finding out some research around that. So we went through Google, because that point of time also we were thinking that Google is God, you can find every information on Google, but unfortunately we didn't find anything except the varieties of pads and the, cups and tampons. So we started traveling in remote to find out the issues around it, and we found series of issues. We found during menses, women use a dirtiest pieces of cloth because it's a synonym of dirt for them. They wash it, but they cannot sun dry it, and with dust and moisture, they use it again. So this is the main cause of infection. But not only clothes, they use dry leaves, newspaper, polythene, pieces of mattress, cushion, or anything and everything which can absorb the liquid part. They use as a sanitary pad because they do not have affordability to buy extra pair of clothing, or they do not have extra pieces of cloth for them. Data says on Google, today if you just Google it, how many women can afford these marketable sanitary pads, you will find just 10 to 18%. Some website claims 12% to maximum 18%, which means 82% women, they do not have affordability to buy this marketable sanitary pad. So they are forced to use those things. And even if they buy these marketable sanitary pads, they have to cut this milk and vegetable budget. What we have heard, I'm speaking. So we also think these surpluses can be a good sustainable products. We make clothing, we make cloth pads. We make even undergarments for them out of hosiery t-shirts. So lakhs of pads are actually, distributed, and these surpluses which are converted into these. And there are so many different products which you have also, I think you must have seen outside, the products which are, displayed there. But these are actually very fancy type of products. But beside this, Gunj also makes lots of utility products for rural India, which includes quilt, which includes sanitary pad, cloth sanitary pad, then sitting asan, and there are so many things which we make, which is very useful for people in communities. And these things goes for the community mobilization, and this material will be distributed. We call it cloth for work, because we think if you give anything free, that doesn't have any value. I'm just relating to the sustainability part of it. So when we give such material, when we interact with the community, we go, and when we want to distribute, if we have identified the need of the community, we go and also talk to the community about what kind of problem they face as a community. So we find common type of problems which they always say, that water, sanitation, road, infrastructure, and so many things. And they say like nobody comes here and helps us in this. We say that why don't you come forward and work and do that needful. So basically we actually work, and they will be working one person from each family on an average come. So if example, like there are 100 families, we ask one person from each family, so 100 people will come and work for a pond cleaning or road repairing. So that's how they work for a day and they solve their community problem. And this community problem, when they solve, they get a reward, which is a kit, a family kit, which are collected from urban India. And that's how we talk about the material circularity. And this work, when they have done, so they also get a benefit of community because they work for the community where they stay. So you're not just only fulfilling their material gap, but also the work which they do that indirectly help them on a day-to-day basis. And in entire process of this, we try to develop the sense of ownership because people who work for that, they make it, they maintain it as well. So that's the focus of Goonj, where we try to dignify the entire system of distribution, try to reduce the surpluses, as well as fill the gap of the material. And this is in a sustainable way so that the thing which are actually given, that is also going to be a long lasting, and also the material which are going, that is also helping them in that some way. So some of the program with the surpluses which we collect, we work on health, we work on education, we work on the rural development, and we work on disaster. This is our 5E of sustainability: environment, because obviously you minimize the landfilling and other stuff. Education, because you have to, we talk about this, we talk about the solution of the urban surpluses, health and hygiene, self-reliance and all. Employment, because lots of material which comes here, that goes through the people who actually make some different products. Currently, more than this year, 800 plus women are earning 10 to 14,000 rupees per month who are making these stuff. And obviously, we talk about equity, which means city and villages, givers and receivers, and gender. And empowerment, obviously, these community gets the resources. This is the data of what we have done in last 8 years. 45 million plus kgs of material which analyze, and these 1.8 million units of Sujni and Asan. Sujni is actually a quilt, and Asan is actually a sitting mat which we give it to schools. Done. This is again a data which talks about what 0.6 million kg of material which we have converted into products, cloth pads. And these are the program under rural development. From last 8 years, water management, agriculture, access infrastructure, and sanitation, we worked. And we work with all sectors. In last 25 years, we have worked with more than 750 organizations across India, and also overseas we work. And these are some of our partners. This is also available. And these are some awards. Thank you so much. And I hope I took little more time, but thank you for listening me patiently.
In a rural area. We'll have few more questions on that, especially from the societal impact point of view. Up next, we have Raj from Banyan Nation, and another interesting company which are pioneering technology to recycle the plastics and making them ready for the industrial use. So Raj, next, and request you to be a little mindful of the time as well.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Dr. Saurabh, for having me and giving the opportunity to speak about Banyan. I know it's getting late. I mean, what better way to end Friday than speak about garbage, right? But here we are. So bear with me. I'll try and wrap up as quickly as possible. Banyan is, without a doubt, India's most trusted recycler. We've been in existence for the last 10 years. Our vision is to democratize India's waste value chain and to make sure that we make the use of recycled plastic the norm in mainstream products and packaging. We're driven by science. We are a polymer science and technology company where we are hyper-focused on vertical integration of our supply chain. And the hallmark of everything we do is ethically sourced and responsibly recycled plastics that can be used for human and food contact applications. Why do we exist? Two fundamental problems. One is, this you can imagine if you've grown up in India. India's recycle value chain, although it's very ubiquitous, is extremely fragmented and opaque. And although India does a wonderful job in collection, everything that gets collected gets downcycled, which means that any consumer, any brand, domestic or multinational, actually cannot, drive their sustainability norms by using any recycled plastic that gets produced in the country. I'll just dwell on the recycling value chain really quick to give you a flavor. I've heard about people asking about landfills and EPR and what happens to all the garbage that you throw out. This is where it ends up, right? And there are like hundreds of such landfills across the country. The amazing part, though, although this is a very unfortunate image, is that India recovers over 70% of all the garbage that we throw out. Anything and everything that is recyclable and gets out of your home gets to the hands of any rack picker, any street corner, kabadiwala, raddiwala, or bhandiwala, whom you might have sold your paper, your metal, your used utensils and whatnot. So that's an amazing system that we have, and if there was an Olympics for recycling, then India would definitely win the gold medal here. Extremely intricate web. I won't dwell on that, this should give you a flavor. I mean, your maids, your security guards, everybody in the communities that you live, college campuses, they come, they take away everything that you throw out, and you don't really have to worry about it because it goes through this intricate chain and it ends up in a facility like ours. Like I just said, the unique challenges that this ecosystem faces is that they're not scientific, so they really don't know how to separate other than some basic rudimentary visual inspection. They have very, very low-tech recycling technologies, which really makes it unviable for brands to use recycled plastics for all the products and packaging we are consuming. How do we solve this? Two ways. In the last decade, we've mapped out over 10,000 of these informal recyclers across 20 different states, 900 different zip codes. And by 2025, we will have a capacity of 50,000 tons per annum of pure play polyolefins, which is all your shampoos, lotions, conditioners, household articles, automotive components that we successfully recycle and put back on the shelves for you. Our digital mapping software gives you the ability to trace every piece of packaging that we collect back to its source. So any brand that comes and talks to us about EPR or sustainability or anything else, they can be rest assured, and so can you, that the bottles that you are picking up, the packaging that you are using, you know exactly where it came from, which kabadiwala, which street corner bin across the country. This is our facility. We have a capacity of about 15,000 tons per annum and growing. It's state of the art, one of the best in Asia. And we have a very, very extensive water management, waste management facility here. It's all zero discharge. It's all climate positive. And we're also investing in a lot of renewable energy. So every piece of plastic that comes goes through a series of steps, and it's 99% decontaminated, and it goes back to making the resins, that goes back to making bottles that are on the shelves. We also have very advanced in-house labs. One of the best that you can find, where we have hyper invested in a lot of research and development in-house, and we have a lot of R&D scientists that come and work with us from across the globe. And all our materials are either US FDA certified or BIS certified or FSSAI certified. So when a brand comes to us, all they have to tell us is, here is a technical specification, and this is how much recycled plastic we want to put back into our packaging, and then they really don't have to do anything more. That's the kind of streamlined, frictionless setup we have here. This is a live example where we've been working with the likes of Unilever and all your other major FMCG oil and lube brands. This bottle, Surf Excel, is very popular. I mean, everybody uses it, everybody knows it. And we've put over 2 billion plus such bottles back on the shelves since inception. And all the bottles that we've recycled and Unilever has put back, recycled content is again coming back into our facility as we speak. Our impact, like I said, I mean, we work with a lot of the informal sector recyclers, so 50,000 plus people just in South India are directly or indirectly impacted by the work that we do and the supply chains that we run. 2 billion plus bottles already recycled and put back on the shelves. And we've unlocked about $5 billion per annum of pure play polyolefin circular resin production in the country. Thanks so much for your time. I'm open to questions.
Thank you very much for that quick presentation and a lot of value-added information that you gave us, Raj. Yes, there are questions. I have few questions. Probably you'll be able to answer. Last but not the least, we have Vishala here. She's the founder and director of a company called Millet Bank. So over to you, Vishala.
Thank you. I thought I'm a very good storyteller until I met Naman. So I'm not sure that whether I'm able to match the expectation, but yeah. So my name is Vishala, and I'm founder of this company, Millet Bank. Everybody thinks it's a, when we call like Millet Bank, people say we don't want loans. I said, no, it is not the other bank, it's actually a grain bank, right? So we wanted to build this integrated, fair and inclusive value chain for millets. And there are many issues currently that we are facing. Climate change is one of the biggest issue. Micronutrient deficiency is one of the biggest issue. And hidden hunger, that's one of the issue. And obesity is one of the issue. But I am honestly not here to solve any of those problems, because people who overeat, they're already educated, empowered. Why we have to empower them? You know, it's their choice, right? But why I am here is to solve a very big problem of connecting farmers to the market. So actually, step by step we are taking. We are not there yet. I'm just very young in this entrepreneurial community, just 3 years old. So this is Millet Bank. And how many of you know millets? Wow, that's a good number. But how many of you can recognize how many varieties of millets? Yeah. How many of you ate millets? That's quite a good number, right? So it's actually a first domesticated human food. That's what the research says, that it was used for more than 7,000 years plus old food system. And this entire system was preserved, practiced, and passed on from generations and generations. So I was asking Sir Sanjeev, when he said that my daughter wants to pursue agriculture, I was asking, what do you do? He said that I work for a software, the company, corporate company. What did your father do? Railways. What did your grandfather do? Railways. And then what, maybe his forefathers and their forefathers, definitely they would be in agriculture, right? So this is also circular economy, like circular design. You go, you study, and then you go to a nice USA job, and then you somehow you realize that, I have to go back and do something else. So why don't we do something else in the first place? I also kind of, got into this kind of a journey. First 20 years of my life, I have never seen how a real train looks like. I've grown up and studied in the village only, like, the Telugu medium. And I'm the first girl who stepped out from my village and got into school and then college. I'm kind of a fighter from the day one. And then next 20 years, I want to do something really big. So that is how I started getting into the tourism, hospitality industry. By the way, Krishna Garu was my first client when I was working for a hotel in Hyderabad. That time he gave a good business, but not now. So then next 20 years, I traveled 25 plus countries. So I was in business event industry. I worked for Hyderabad International Convention Center. And these are the convention centers that this kind of meetings happen in every day basis, right? So I was able to see this COP11 happening, World Metropolis Conference is happening, and this big corporate people coming and speaking about sustainability, so many of big words. And then I was thinking, isn't it there always? I have seen back in the village. It was always there in our culture, right? So that is the image that I am going to show. So this one. You see this. So this, I call it as farm to fork, right? Seeding to feeding, that's a different name. You see that how the entire system was connected, intertwined, and domestic and sustainable, eco-friendly. And we used to have our own seeds. My mother used to save 30 plus millets, pulses, and oil seeds. And then we used to have our own practice, like, how to knowledge and resources, everything. We used to have our own manpower because we were joint families then. We used to have, there was no need of agriculture labor. Now it's one of the biggest issue. We used to have our own storage systems, which we call like this. That is what the Millet Bank, I took the logo as an inspiration. And because it was not commercial, we were not selling in the market. It was the grinded and pounded, hand grinded and hand pounded, right? And some grains which were left, we used to sell it in the nearby markets. That is how the whole system was there. And if you connect to the everything like food security, food safety, crop diversity, dietary diversity, climate action, carbon neutrality, green infrastructure, anything, any word that you name, it is always there. So why did we break it? And why are we keeping the goals like by 70 we have to achieve something, and the sustainable SDGs, by 2030 we will achieve? Nothing happened. Everybody knows, it's all there in the paper, but not in the real action, right? So that is what I wanted to do. But I'm solving one at a time. I can't solve the entire thing which has been destroyed for the last 50 years just in one day, right? So how millets are sustainable? So I think one of the other speaker also was talking about rice, how much water it takes, right? And 1 kg of millet requires 600 liters of water. And some of the varieties like Kodo millet, it needs even 300 to 400 liters of water. It depends, variety to variety. And the rice takes 6,000 to 10,000 liters of water per kilo, which is 6 to 10 times higher requirement. And also the millets are rain-fed crops. You take the water from the sky. And the other crops, they take water from the ground. Now we have seen what happened in Bangalore. They ran out of water, and now they are full of water, the climate change which is happening. And then it is also food for the birds. Now the agriculture, you said my daughter wants to go for agriculture. Agriculture, the responsibility was not just food production, right? They also take care of the environment, they take care of the people, they take care of the birds, they take care of the cattle. So they protect the entire biodiversity. And the other one is that there is no need for fertilizers and chemicals, and they contribute to the soil health. And when it comes to net zero, why we call it as a net zero crop? Even the fermented waters of leftover millets or rice, even till today in the villages, now people are patenting this, right? So we used to pour water and salt, and farmers used to drink it before going to the workplace. And then millet forage, that is used as a fodder for the cows. And even the broken millet rice used for the bird feed. And where is the leftover in this? So automatically from seeding to feeding, everything is taken care. But not anymore now. Now we have to use the packaging material, we have to do a lot of things. So it is not sustainable, but we have to bring this back, that packaging and all that. And what are we doing? Millet Bank, our legal entity is Minkin Agro Industries Private Limited. So I divided this into 2 parts, right? The first part is infrastructure. Why the infrastructure is needed? Earlier in the villages, it used to be the joint families, we used to have our own infrastructure in our own ways. But now, farmers, they don't have seed, and they don't have clean dry yard. They have to take the grains to the nearby tar roads, and they're making the vehicles to pass through, and that is actually leading to huge food contamination. And the manpower is one of the biggest issue. So they have to go for the mechanization, and then that is not affordable because most of the farmers who grow this are small and marginal. When they are not having work, they're also agriculture labor. So they can't afford these high-end technologies and all. So they are not willing to grow millet itself in the first place. And then there is no storage units, and there is no primary processing and secondary processing. You forget about it. So without fixing the first, all these production level issues, we have gone ahead and introduced the International Year of Millets, and we did which did some good in creating awareness, but we haven't fixed this first part. So how do we want to fix is that we want to bring that whatever the ecosystem was at home level to a community level and create an integrated infrastructure facilities with blended financing. People say like, I'll invest, you put the unit, then we can't pass on the farmers into debt, right? So somebody has to pitch in, somebody has to contribute generously and create this infrastructure to bring the farmers to a level playing field. And I won a national challenge for this. I've presented my case study how it has to be done, and that money has not come yet from the government of India, 1 crore rupees. So the second one is the value-added products. So we are creating this ready-to-eat and ready-to-cook millet products into D2C and B2B. So apart from that, we are also running this social club. 13,000 members are there. When I took the photo, it was 10. So I've created this informal community. They're interacting on their own, and they're announcing that I have millet, and somebody saying that I need it. So they are buying on their own. So I've activated this group. And the second one is, this is what the local integrated infrastructure which we want to build. And the first project is in the process, and which we are setting up in our own hometown, Kuppam. And these are some of the products, because the youngsters sitting out there, they want very chic and sexy products, right? So that is how we created a very nice branding. But what happens after this, honestly, we have not figured out. Probably the recycling that we need to work on that. And also we do this millet-based gifting. When we, actually the reason why we have to do is, when we create a gift, even one millet product is there and it goes to somebody, it might break their perception that millets are not tasty or, or whatever. So, and also we change the presentation. When I was seeing your products, I was thinking, wow, I think I should include these products into my gift hampers. Because my mother, there is always that culture, craft, and food is interconnected at the village level. And my mother used to call these artisans from the nearby villages. And then they used to make these baskets for the whole village in every summer, right? So after that, then they used to go back to their places. So that is how we want to help that craftspeople also. And one more interesting thing is that dryland agricultural regions, when there is no rain, to stop the migration, they also introduce a lot of this culture element, culture, art, performing arts and all that. So we wanted to bring that element also and change this presentation. And this is during International Year of Millets, which we actually did a lot of contribution. And then this is my presentation to the G20 Prime Minister spouses, where we have showcased the interconnectedness of the culture, craft, everything at the grassroots level. And these are the sustainability development goals that are linked to the millets, that we meet the 6 of these SDGs. And these are some of the value-added, the gift hampers and all we do. And these are some case studies, how we were able to bring artisans and the farmers together. And this is my sister, the first one, Shanta. And awards and recognition, we were winners of this Atal India New Challenge, which is actually 1 crore grant, which was announced by Nirmala Sitharaman, and also Niti Aayog 75 agri startups who are going to make difference, and National Startup Award finalist, and many more. And one of the other challenge, apart from the production, is consumption. So one of the biggest thing is that consumer awareness. And when we go and speak in the corporate companies, and if there are 50 people, when we ask how many of you have ate millets, 2 hands will go up. How many of you know millets, 6 hands will go up. So after the session, how many of you want to eat millets, then all hands will go up. So that is how that we are changing the behavior one at a time and going to company and asking, and Praveen sir has been great help in connecting us to a lot of other facility heads. And this is what we want to do in 8 cities. We wanted to bring the consumer awareness. And yeah, we were part of the Earth Fest also, school outreach program. And we also introduced this Women Awards so that we can, because women play a key role in taking care of the home nutrition. So this platform that we are using to create awareness, and food literacy around schools, and cooking with millets education, and many more. Thank you.
Uh, so let me start my questions that I have planned for the panelists here. So I'll start off first with Naman because he's been sitting idle for a long time. His presentation was the first. So I take a cue from what Sir had asked you. If I have gone through your entire journey and the work that you did, uh, the original idea came from that you the cigarette butts. So I find a dichotomy there where you're on one hand saying people should not smoke, on the other hand the basic raw material itself is coming from cigarette. So imagine, picture a world where everyone stopped smoking in the world. What will happen to your business?
So, sir, absolutely, this is one of the questions that we actually advocate because health is not beyond my business. People are healthy, so that's a win for me. And more than me, ITC or these companies won't like people to stop smoking because I am not as big as ITC right now. So ITC and ITC is just in India. So even if in India, sir, the tobacco market is completely lobbied, I can say. There are a handful of companies. ITC holds around 85% stake in the market, and the rest is with two companies. One is, I guess, based in Hyderabad, only VST Industries. So VST has around 3%, and the rest is with the Marlboro. Marlboro even doesn't manufacture here. They have tied up with Modi Mill, Modi Group, and the entire manufacturing is done by Godfrey Phillips India Limited. So it's not about smoking actually, and like even if we are living in an ideal world where people stop smoking, so the experience that we have generated and the team that we have built by solving this problem of cigarette butts. So we will take on some other waste item which needs immediate attention. I would not touch plastics because I guess Banyan Nation is there for handling that waste. But there are other wastes also. Right now, e-waste is one of the hot topics. Battery waste is coming up because uh, till the time solar is expanding, so that battery waste will also be generated. And I guess we have been researching about batteries. So lithium ion batteries is the one that is the highly moving commodity right now in the battery space. So till the time humans are there, waste will be there, sir. I was going through social media, so there was one saying on the social media that if you are visiting beaches or mountains or somewhere, behave like animals because they don't litter. We humans litter. So that's what I guess. The waste is endless. So if it's not cigarette butts, then definitely some other waste. But we will try to do our bit till the time we are there on this planet Earth. We will try our best to reduce the amount of waste that our Earth is facing and would love to provide sustainable solutions to each and every kind of waste. Thank you.
Thank you, Naman. So if you recall in the morning, I said there are two dimensions in which we can divide these companies on the dimensions of intention and the capabilities. So I'm happy to select a new community. And when you go to a new community, let's say with a used product, used clothing, uh, do you generally feel some kind of pressure from the people saying that this is a used product and why should I use someone else's product, especially in the rural area?
We face everywhere this situation because you know that when we talk about used material, collected material, so first thing which they always think about कि किसका मरा हुआ किसी आदमी का तो कपड़ा लेके नहीं आया हो. So that's a kind of perception people have, and obviously when you sit with people, so I would say like the biggest challenge is mindset in our work, or you know that community which we deal with, because they have very limited knowledge and they also have cultural barriers. So things like when suppose like for example if I talk about we also provide marriage kit in cities like marriage ho gaya uske baad you don't find ki when next second time you are wearing that same kit or bridal or groom kit. So what happens, these things also comes to us. So when you want to even give free, but there would be, less acceptance. And what we are saying here that we will not give you free, but you have to earn that, you have to get as a reward. So basically, when we go and approach the community, we do not talk about material. We talk about their problems. We talk about their solutions, and we say like in the era of machine, somebody has to talk about needles, which is equally important. So, for example, like when we go in the community, we say, you have water problem. You go for a kilometer to get a bucket of water, and beside your village you have pond already. So why don't you clean this? So that's how like you have to motivate them. So nobody will come and no agency will come immediately and clean your pond, but you can immediately come. So you have to motivate people there, and you have to tell about their moral responsibility. You have to tell about what they can do as a common citizen, because every time blaming the government authority or the local authority will not provide you a solution. But when you come forward, you can make you can do your own solution. And what happens, like we know that people who are actually going to the local market and they are buying a shirt in rupees 50 or 100, obviously they are not buying new shirts, because even the stitching cost would not be 100 rupees. So what happens, we try to make people understand about this, that these are the material which are surpluses, which are good in quality, what you are getting in the local market, and see this material quality, that's a big difference. And that's how. And after that also, when people think about working in the community, they see like, okay, we are making a difference, we are making, and we are the owner of the community. And sense of ownership, when you are actually activating, obviously, like then material which are used for the consumption, which is also accepted. So biggest problem or biggest challenge which we see, the mindset. And obviously, like we have to talk, deal with that, and we have to make them understand about the fact what they buy every festive season. Obviously, in a budget, you can't even buy a shirt from a place, no, from a showroom. So that's what we try to convey and try to make them aware.
Right. So, yeah, cultural barriers are very critical barriers, especially when you are talking about giving away used products. Vishala, one of the challenges that I see for you is that first to create an enormous awareness for millet, its advantages. But another challenge that I see is which is more related to the logistics part of it, wherein you have millet producers in the faraway farmlands and bringing it to the urban area. So how does your company look at that challenge, and are there solutions to it?
So millets, there are a lot of challenges in terms of the adaptability. So to break that, we have come up with some couple of interventions. So number one is that fixing the taste, because that is what people look for, right? So that we were able to do it. And the branding and packaging, we made it very nice packaging so that it will attract the customers. And the education is one of the biggest issue. So most of the times I spend my 100% of my time in only education and awareness programs. So in fact, many people say that you are an activist or an entrepreneur or a business person. They are not able to, because I never sell my product. So the more right education, how it will help you as a nutrition powerhouse, that it will have these benefits, and then how it will help the farmer, and that too the small and marginal farmer from dryland agricultural regions, and then how it helps the environment, the planet, the millets for farmer, people, and the planet. So again and again and again and again, that if you educate, then they develop that kind of sense of responsibility and also the bond, right? So that is where we are using the decode millet, and we are going and creating the games like guess the grain challenge, and then we are doing the recipe demonstrations, and then we are asking them to organize the crowdsourcing millet recipe in their company. So we are actually educating the urban community. And the second one comes to the logistical challenge, it's a very broken supply chain. It's impossible to fix it. So that is the reason that we wanted to create that decentralized infrastructures in the villages and in the semi-urban areas, so that even it's not only urban people who need nutrition, the rural people need more nutrition, because they are the one who are going out and working in the fields, right? So for them, you can't give it in this kind of high level packaging. They have to be sold from the sacks, and they have to be sold in less packaging material. You don't pass on that burden. So that is when this integrated infrastructure which we are planning to create will also have a local retail store. And 30 to 40% of the production should go to the local people, the farmers who are not growing millets, but they are growing some other things. And diabetes is one of the biggest issue. And you see the rural people, thanks to this, all these freebies and all, they're hugely addicted to alcohol. And you see that their health conditions are very, very bad. And farmers, this is a very sad story, I'll tell you. This hurt me a lot. And they're not able to cope up with the physical work. They're consuming alcohol and getting into the farms. What else can go wrong, right? So you have to make this integrated infrastructure, which I'm planning to create, will have a rural retail unit, and also will have a cafe. This aspirational rural youth want to get out and then I heard that people came to visit Tonic from the rural areas to Hyderabad. And you have to create that kind of infrastructure in the rural areas, and rest of them, the ONDC platforms, and now like the government is introducing many more other market linkages, the GEM forum. So we have to explore all these things. So right now it's a big challenge, but 1 year it cannot be fixed. So it has to.
Okay. So I'll just come back to you about this hyperlocal model that you talked about and how you're utilizing the ONDC platforms, because that has a potential of cutting down your logistics cost drastically. With Raj, I have very specific questions which I've been wanting to ask you for a long time. One is that both you and Naman are working with people who are at the receiving end of the exposure to health hazards, right? So how do you make sure that the working conditions for those rack pickers are at least to that extent where their health is not deteriorated, or at least the health is insured? So are there any schemes or plans or policies in your organization?
No, that's a great question. We get asked that a lot. Our DNA is that of a social enterprise, but we are for profit. And we have a fiduciary duty to everybody who's backing us to return capital and then some. So financial inclusion is something that we are working on now that we have a certain level of maturity. So although we are vertically integrated, given that we are very voluminous, right? And what we are doing is still, we're just scratching the surface in the 10 million odd tons per annum of plastic waste that gets generated. It is going to take us the rest of the decade to actually, make a dent on, the societal impact at the bottom of the pyramid, whether it comes to healthcare, education, or even access to finance. I think although we collect tens of thousands of tons and we spend crores of rupees, trading with the informal sector, they're still either unbankable or they are underbanked, right? So the sector itself is in its infancy, and it's only in the last decade that it has attracted about $200 million of capital. Whether it's from DFIs or PE VC firms. So very early days, but when we go out and we work with our network, I mean, we definitely make sure that we're doing enough capacity building within our sphere of influence to at least make sure that all their products and their work is marketable for mainstream use. I think that is something that we do, and obviously, we are like SEDEX, Meta, all the global certifications, where at least, if not completely down the chain like tier 2, 3, 4, at least up to tier 1, we make sure that there is a very robust process where there are good compliances in terms of basic facilities, whether it's like bathrooms for their workers and what have you. And we do connect people who need more infrastructure. Say somebody needs a baling press, or somebody needs more working capital. So we work with a lot of microfinance institutions that are also part of our cap table to facilitate all that.
Okay. So another question, especially when you're talking about this reverse logistics, I would put it under the concept of reverse logistics. One of the major problem is the uncertainties of the return material in terms of when is it going to come and what is the quality in which the return is going to come. Because I suppose you are suppliers to some B2B companies, like I think Alpla is one of your major customers. So there are certain quality standards that are required, and how do you make sure that, of course, collection is something that you've said that we are masters as Indians, but the segregation based on the quality standards. So do you use certain technologies, especially nowadays when we talk about AI-related technologies to identify and segregate material? Is there something of that sort in your organization, or if not now, do you have plans to do that?
No, that's a great question. I think, like I highlighted, cross-contamination is one of the major issues, right? And at the end of the day, this is a supply chain problem, garbage in, garbage out. So we do it, we have a two-pronged approach. I mean, one is obviously via reskilling and upskilling the informal sector, which, really is the point of sale. We make sure that they give us the appropriate quality. So we have our own specifications on the feedstock that we source, and we source very specific feedstock. We don't source all sorts of plastic waste. And secondly, once it enters our plant, I mean, we have obviously, very advanced systems in terms of robotic sorting, spectrometric fingerprinting, color sorting, homogenization, and obviously state-of-the-art labs, where any material that is going out of our plant either has to be like human contact or food contact safe.
All right, so Naman, I have next question to you. Probably this will be the last round of questions from me before I open it. Consumers' acceptability of a product which is made out of cigarettes. How did you face this challenge? How did you overcome this challenge? Because if I have to buy a toy which is made out of cigarette for my kids, I probably will have second thoughts on it. But I see that your products are being sold, people are buying it. So what is that magic wand that you did that people started buying it?
So definitely, we don't sell the products. We sell the values that the product brings into the customer's life. Just like Millet Bank mentioned that the products that we are making, definitely when it comes to the toy vertical, toys are a sensitive topic, and toys is a declining market, because right now all the human kids, infants, they prefer to play with digital games on mobile or some laptop or PC rather than using the physical toys. But the toy market for pets is increasing, because the pet cannot use the mobile right now. They are not as good as of now. So till the time pets are not evolved or something, so that market will remain there. But in terms of human, the market is declining, and the toys that are selling right now are somewhat tech driven and have something related to electronics or something. So the major selling product for us is not toys. We definitely started with toys, so we don't want to close that product vertical down, because it helps rural women artisans generate livelihoods. So we will keep on continue to make toys, and if somebody questions that the toy is made out of cigarettes, so it's completely their thought. We are not the one to question them, because any day they are concerned with the product quality.
But you have the safety certifications.
We have the safety certifications. If you are making a handicraft, BIS is not mandatory from the government's end, but our product is BIS approved, even though if it's handmade. And just like Banyan Nation has GRS, we have that. ISOs, all documentation certifications are in place. But the major selling for us is the paper vertical, because there we see more volumes uh, being sold, and the major revenue chunk for us to grow into the market is coming from the paper and the textile vertical. So definitely customer acceptance will take certain time to come into picture, and till the time our honorable Prime Minister Modi ji doesn't say some few words on his Man Ki Baat about code effort, till the time we'll keep on struggling. But once it comes into the Man Ki Baat, or just like Goons, they have been able to crack KBC. So once I'm there, then definitely the acceptance would be as enough to sustain our business for at least my lifetime. So that's what. Shark Tank is, yeah, definitely. But Shark Tank, like coming from Amitabh Bachchan's mouth or Prime Minister's mouth, is any day bigger than Shark Tank. So Shark Tank will give you the visibility, but you'll get more business through Prime Minister or people like these celebrities.
Okay, that's a wonderful answer. Uh, I cannot promise if I can ask Prime Minister to do Man Ki Baat for you, but definitely our social media will definitely talk about it. Chandan, one question, because I come from the operations management field. I'm moving a little bit onto the disaster side, disaster planning that you guys do. Uh, the regular inventory that you sell to or send to the rural area vis-a-vis the emergency inventory that you need to sell. So emergency inventory is something which is very challenging because you don't know when the emergency is going to hit. So how do you manage that challenge?
It's a great question. So one thing which we always talk about, and I have also mentioned in my presentation, that people give what they have, we give what people need. So it's very important, and when you because you specifically asked for the disaster. So disaster, we have to deal with the situation very differently, because that's the point of time. You cannot say like the people who are affected, they are below BPL class, because now Bangalore, where I came from, so like all these high profile places are also underwater, waterlogging is there, and they are in need, and they are in need not because of the financial condition, but because of natural disaster and the situation currently. So we have to respect their dignity, and obviously like the work which we do, that is largely 80-90% is for the rural part of India, or the community which are very selected community. But especially if you talk about disaster, so our approach is very different. So though we add some of our material, but obviously like we have to see the demand. So for example, like if the current need of the disaster is that though there is a water all across, but there is a drinking water issue. So no matter logistic cost and the water bottle cost would be almost similar, but we have to send that water truck, and that's how we have to manage. Or that you have to buy some other material which are, so you also have to source fund for that, and you have to match that gap. So obviously like we do not give anything which are inappropriate at the time of disaster, and the approach are very different what we do in general, which means like it can be anything. So we also have supplied a large quantity of solar lights, or we supply tarpaulins. So these are not collected, but these are purchased. So although we talk about the surpluses, although we talk about these material are actually a part of circularity, sustainability, but the immediate relief, there are two types of work which we do under disaster. First is relief. Relief will be for all people who are affected, and until waterlogging or until any particular disaster is there. So we have to act as per the need of the ground. And after that, the people will, and the affected community will filter, and then you find like people who are not able to afford, then you can use this particular approach for the long term rehabilitation. But for the relief, you have to act as per the ground need, and that is what the approach is. And again, like when we say disaster work, so for us disaster doesn't end after 10-15 days, because we always so from last 25 years we have experienced that until media coverage is there, you think like there is a disaster, but we need to understand that people who have lost everything, how they will be able to settle down in 10-15 days. Water took away their entire household stuff, and by giving a kit which is a relief kit, we cannot say like we have given them the full support. So yeah, you have to take care of them for at least 6 to 8 months, or sometime more than a year, because it takes time to accumulate or add all these material which they have lost. So in that particular rehabilitation period, we use approaches like this, but relief will be very different based on the need.
Right. So I think we are just about time. We can take few questions from the audiences. Any questions that you want to ask to the panelists here? Yes, Professor Rajiv.
Very great. Like we are having a chat that this is the session where no audience is feeling like bored or like. So one of my question to Mr. Naman, and I really appreciate the humor in your answers. So like you collect the cigarette birds, I think through the manual labor, right? So like 4 or 5 years ago, when like 10 years ago, whenever you started this process, so what was the procedure? How you are collecting these birds, and now in 2024, is there any change in the waste collection process? Is there any improvement in the efficiency that how you are picking up the waste?
Thank you for your compliments actually. And collection is like the core. The theme was progress, pitfalls, and possibilities. So RP was procure, which was a pitfall for us. Cracking the recycling part was, I can say, fairly easy than cracking the procurement channels and the raw material collection task. So initially, 6 years back, I was the one who was going to install the cigarette collection bins at all the cigarette shops, uh, corporate companies, hotels, lounges, where there was a specific smoking zone. And in my presentation also, I mentioned that we actually work on a model which is C2C model, which we call cooperation to corporation, which is, if you translate it in Hindi, it will come like Sahyog se Udyog. So our journey is completely based on cooperation that we have all. Even in this summit, I've been getting the immense amount of cooperation from the entire IMT faculty since day one. Even when I came here, the cooperation that I got from the volunteers and the students, that's unparalleled. Like I cannot match it with any other summit or any other event that I have been a part of. So in our case also, the vendor or the cigarette shop where we first installed the bin, or the first rack picker whom we gave that 100 rupee for collecting the cigarette butts for us, was my promoter in the coming month. He or she whom we serviced, and the service was well received by them and they were happy. So they started giving us more connects across their network, because when it's cigarettes, so it's a regulated market and it's a lobby. So the person who is selling cigarettes at this corner knows the person who is selling cigarettes on the next corner, because he or she might be her chacha, mama, tau, in relations. Okay. So that's how we have built this. And initially, daily collection was 10 grams, which is around 30 cigarette butts. Right now, the collection is close to 1.5 tons daily, which is around 6 million. So within 6 years, if we are able to reach from 30 grams, 30 pieces to 6 million, so I guess we have done fairly a good job. And this is just 1%, so we have not even started yet. So if we get good business, and if we are able to crack the entire market of the Indian subcontinent, then definitely sky is the limit, and we can definitely grow more. Plus the ITC, like in the previous question I mentioned ITC. So at that time when we started, we didn't have any network. So eventually when they saw the work that we are doing, they themselves started approaching us. I am not the one who approached these cigarette manufacturing companies. They want to look good into the eyes of the public. So how will they look good? That's me. You need me to look good into the market because you want your waste to be recycled. So that's what.
Great, great
Thank you,
response.
thank
Any
you
more
so much.
questions to any of these? Yeah, I think Dia.
A warm good evening to the panel, myself Dia Joseph. So I actually have two questions. One is to Raj sir from Banyan Nation. When we talk about one key issues that we kind of overlook is the amount of water that goes because of the number of washes you need to actually do to make it recycle and everything. So from that perspective, how do Banyan Nation actually overcome that kind of challenge? The second question is to Chandan sir from Goonj. Sir, when you spoke, you said that you only give away things that they actually require. So you are left over with some pieces of whatever that you've collected. So how do you how do you redistribute it, or what is the strategy that you would use to that? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that question on water. To come and visit. We have a state-of-the-art water management system as well, where we are zero discharge. So all the water that we take in, and we consume 30 kl per hour of water, and it is just a very small facility at the end of the day. So at our larger facility that we are going to be setting up, that's going to go up by 5x. And I think a lot of people are really worried that, wow, they consume so much water, but I think the thing that we do very well, in addition to recycling plastic, is recycling water. So we take all the water, whether it's public or otherwise, it goes through our system. There are many closed loops because it's a very intricate process. Various stages require various qualities of water, and each water that comes in goes out, and then it gets recycled again, and it's normalized, and then it's put back into process. So really, the only losses you have are the evaporative losses, which is very natural in any process, not unique to us. So that way, I think we've been able to do a pretty good job.
Okay, so in our case, as far as the 100% utilization is concerned, so as I mentioned, like we before recycling, we believe in reduce and reuse. So that's the main important aim for Goonj, that whatever we collect from urban India, first we think about how to reuse it as it is, instead of doing something or cutting something or making something different thing out of that. After that, what happens, like, so if I just give you an example, that 80% of our material which we collect, which goes as it is, you just have to go through that quality check, and that you have to see, so processing team members, they do all these things. And after that, 20% material which will be bifurcated, which will be segregated in different sorts of categories. So for example, like if we have clothing material, so then there is a different category, like you have cotton material, you have denim material, you have other polyester material, or there are other various material, towel material, which you get it. So based on the material, so for example, cotton or towel material, that these are the non-wearable garments, can be converted into cloth sanitary pad. And if the clothes which are polyester or anything which cannot be used for any particular thing, so then we make a product called asan, where you have to just fill the shreds of clothes inside, and upper layer would be a good thick bed sheet cover, which can be so you just use material as a filler, and then upper layer would be anything, and then that can be reused. So that's how, like, with the clothes part of it, we actually utilize. And there are so many other material. What we talk about, quilt. So quilt is a like 3 by 6 feet in a size. And during winter season, we always think about buying a blanket from a big vendor and making them more funds to them to channel, getting these blankets. Instead of that, why don't we provide the livelihood to women who can make these things, and these surpluses can be consumed in this, and this can be used as a thick blanket in winter season, and as a bed sheet in summer season as well. And this is the best utilization of the raw material which we collect. And going beyond clothes, for example, like if you, I don't know whether you have seen, some of the products are like we also upcycle audio cassettes. So we reuse, in fact. So there is a keychain there, and we normally take cassette reels, which you used to see in 90s, Sare Gama Pa wala jo whatever. So we also take different kind of material like CD and the plastic material or tire. So these are all useful for our creative activities what we do, and we supply with some different developed products. So our focus is to reduce like and work on a net zero solution. Last inches of material, we make sure to use it for different kind of program, and that's how like no, so nothing will be wastage at our end.
Yeah, one more question we can take. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Price, and the third one is textile. In paper side, he discussed product they are creating mosquitoes repellent. We know, right? Mosquito repellents have some health related issues like skin ashes, irritations, breathing problems also. And how your product is different from Good Night, even also they are creating mosquito repellents. How your product is different, because you have said na ki health is more important than in any business. So how is your product is different from them?
Code Effort is a cruelty-free organization. When I say cruelty-free organization, we could have made a mosquito killer, but we are making a mosquito repellent, because mosquito is also a creature. We just want it to go away and not bite us. And my mosquito repellent is not effective in the open ground, because the fumes that will come out after you'll burn the mosquito repellent will be good in a closed atmosphere. And the process is very simple that we are making. Goodnight Fast Card is also a paper, and they might be using various chemicals. We also use one ingredient, which is an oil. We are not using any chemical. So that oil is available across the world, and if you just search on YouTube, you'll find various videos on how to make a homemade mosquito repellent. And handmade paper that we are making from the leftover paper is 99% market for us, because there we have added seeds, so that it is called a plantable seed paper, which is coming from cigarette paper for us. And that rest 1% is from the mosquito repellent, because mosquito repellent was the product that we initially started with when we were, because I'll explain you a little bit more about this, because when we started our company Code Effort, we just focused on the fiber part, the polymer part. But when we started collecting and we started paying to the rack pickers, so almost 40% of the raw material was paper and the tobacco. So because I'm paying, so I cannot lose 40 rupees if I'm paying 100 rupees, and 40 rupees is the paper material. So I cannot throw it. So I'm basically throwing my money to empower rack pickers. So I'm not that much into empowerment. I need to run the business as well. So that's why we started focusing on reusing or utilizing the paper material and the tobacco material. So that's why we built the mosquito repellent. And if I name the chemical, it would be easy and you might become my competitor. So I won't be able to name the exact essential oil. But if you search it, you'll find it. If you search God, you'll find them. So similarly, if you search the essential oil, you'll find the essential oil. And maybe if you are not using cigarette paper, but you can use a similar paper and at least solve your own domestic mosquito problem by making homemade mosquito repellent coils. Thank you.
Thank you, Naman. So I think it is time that we should call it a day. So let me thank each one of you panelists here for this very interactive and interesting session, which is quite a different one in terms of the type of business models which we are talking about here. So thank you very much, everybody. So let's have a huge
An
round.
enlightening one. So much of exchange of knowledge, and especially to have such stalwarts from industry, change makers, talking about their efforts, the challenges, the pitfalls, the possibilities are innumerable. I've been thinking how to give a kind of an end to this these set of sessions. Is we always, as we are seated here, we always look at somebody else to solve our problems.